Well, tonight on the podcast, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to cover about two different subjects tonight, but they all kind of will blend into just one particular podcast. Now, the first subject here we want to get into is that Joe Biden has now spent $25 million to target black voters. Of course, he's targeting others, but we're going to focus just on our community like we do here. So there was an ad that he put out. We wanted to kind of look at this ad and see if any of this is true, what the Biden administration is putting out for his campaign. So let's go ahead and start looking at this.
On his first day in office, with the country in crisis, President Biden got to work for us. Cutting black child poverty in half, more money for black entrepreneurs, millions of new, good-paying jobs. He's lowered the cost of living and prescription drugs. But there's more to do. He gets it because we all deserve dignity, safety, respect, and a chance to do more than just get by, but to get ahead.
I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
So let's break this down. So he got to work for who? Now, those of you in the chat, do you feel that when Biden got into office and on his first day, he got to work for us? Because maybe I'm wrong and maybe y'all can correct me, but I don't feel that he got to work for us at all. Now, he said that we had his back, right? If you don't remember that. And he'll have ours. And yet, the only back we got is his proverbial butt to kiss. He did not get to work for us at all. He got to work for everybody else. He got to work for the Asian community. He got them that hate crime bill. He went to work for Ukraine. He made sure Ukrainians are taken care of, and they're still being taken care of as we speak. He continues to ask for more and more money for Ukraine. When a lot of you ran out there and go vote for Biden because you had to get Trump out, fine. I know a lot of you didn't go out there and vote for him to be giving all your tax dollars to Ukraine. But when you need some tax dollars that actually should belong to you in the form of reparations, you're told that you don't need reparations. You don't deserve reparations. Everything about reparations you don't need, but these Ukrainians who never stepped foot in America, these Ukrainians that didn't pay a single tax to the United States government, getting all your tax dollars. Also, on top of that, Biden has made sure with the Ukrainians they're importing here, which they have imported more than 200,000 of them here quietly, that they can get Social Security money while they're here. You may not get Social Security at all because they're squandering it, or they're raising the age so high that due to the conditions in America, the stress, the horrible food, etc., you may not even get your money because you may pass away before you even get it. That's just kind of how it is in this country right now, because a lot of people are just so freaking stressed out to even live here. So he definitely went to work for Ukraine. He went to work for illegal immigrants. Illegal immigrants, when they found out he got in office, the floodgate was open. They have flooded this state that I'm in, Texas. Of course, the Texas governor say, oh no, y'all talking about sanctuary city. You can have some of the people that's coming here. We'll send them over there to you. And now when they're sending them over there to places like New York City, they're complaining about it and griping. But hey, you designated your city as a sanctuary city. So why can't you take on the people that need sanctuary? But regardless, they're spending billions of dollars on that situation, right? So he went to work definitely for illegal immigrants. He went to work for the LGBTQ community to make sure that they have things and they have different protections. You know, he went to work for everybody else but Black America. But like I said, if I am wrong, please correct me. And then when he say that he has done things like, the Inflation Reduction Act, what inflation have you reduced, sir? It has not reduced anything. What people are saying every single day is the food prices more than the gas prices is utterly ridiculous. It is too freaking high. Rent is too freaking high. You got places that's supposed to be areas where you can afford the rent. You can't. They're running $1,800 plus a month in places where it used to be you can get it for maybe about $600-700 a month. People can't afford it. Rent went up, food went up, gas went up. but wages did not go up whatsoever. Then you see, he said you go to work for everybody. Look what happened with Maui. Now you remember that they were talking about Trump. Remember during the hurricane in Puerto Rico, and they had the famous footage of Trump out there like he playing basketball, giving them paper towels. Well, Biden, he did even worse. Biden didn't even show up out there. And then when he finally showed up out there, he was just bumbling, and then he was falling asleep and all kind of other things that Biden was doing. Then he told those people, I'm going to give you $700 checks. $700 checks not going to wipe nobody's butt at all. And the people in Hawaii felt very offended by that he wants to give out $700 checks, but he gave out Ukrainians billions of dollars that he keep on sending to them. But you give American citizens $700 checks, but that is his form of working for you. And the reason why he also did that, because those Hawaiian people are not Caucasians, that's for sure. And they're pretty upset by Biden right now. Understandably. That's why I always tell these other non-white groups, the folks going to show you who you really are in the end of the day. They'll sit up there and let you play games with them. They'll try to tell you that you're better than black folks, but when the rubber meets the road, they're going to let you know that you're not white. And the treatment's going to show it. And at the end of the day, usually people come back to black people and say, you were right the whole time. Like, we told you, right? He mentioned he's giving money to black entrepreneurs. I don't know of any programs he put out there that's giving money directly to black entrepreneurs. Where are they? What are they? We don't know. Because I haven't heard a bunch of people that I know who are black is getting a bunch of money from Biden, right? And who are the black entrepreneurs you're talking about? Boule Martin, that's in the in crowd, that's getting these little monies earmarked to him that we don't know nothing, the general public don't know nothing about, right? I mean, what is he actually doing? Then you will say you want to finish the job. What job you trying to finish? You're surely not helping our community. What you mean? Give more money to Ukraine? Is that the job you want to finish? They said now they just spent, I think, a couple of $1 billion on getting more. Let me see if I can say this. We know you're on YouTube, so I have to make sure I say this right way. To spend more money on a particular medical decision, let me say that term, that a lot of people didn't want to fool with at a particular time, right? So why is he spending money on that? Why? That could be easily spent more on homelessness in the United States. It could be spent on helping the black community, actually. There's a whole lot of things that can be spent on things worthwhile. So why did you spend this $25 million in the black community? A lot of them very upset, disgruntled with the Democrat Party. And a lot of them have said that they're going to sit it out. They're not voting for you. So, of course, we know the strategy. Well, you know what? We want to make sure they have no choice but to vote for us. That's why we're going to make sure to throw all these cases at this time period on Trump and all of that. Now, let's switch gears for a minute to the Republican Party. Now, I got a clip that I want to play. And I want to talk to the Republicans because, see, you have Republicans that like to come up here and say, well, see, we see all the stuff the Democrats doing, y'all, and they've been doing y'all wrong for a long time. You need to come over here with us. Well, it's a lot of reasons why black America just cannot just go say, you know what, let me go to the Republican Party. Let's go ahead and let's roll this.
In this North Milwaukee neighborhood is a Republican Party attempt to engage minority voters.
When you pass this office, what are you thinking?
Made me curious because, I haven't seen so many minorities as Republicans.
Gerard Randall helps run the space that originally opened in 2020.
This whole strip has become known as the Black Arts Strip.
He says it's been a hub for Republican recruitment, organizing, and engagement, including at the city's Juneteenth celebration this year.
This place, in terms of a fixed location, is generally where people can come to get more information about the party and its platform.
Let me stop right there. So this whole setup right here for me is very problematic. Just as a black person, if you're a student of history, now of course we're not talking about our brother Martin Luther King. We're not talking about him at all. He's out of it, right? But you're trying to get black people over to your Republican Party. Now, let's go to the right, all the way to the right, Abraham Lincoln here. Abraham Lincoln, it has been recorded him saying that if he could keep slavery and save the Union, he would have kept slavery. And he also said that if I get rid of slavery and it saves the Union, I would do that too. So if he did figure out a way to save the Union and kept slavery, then there would have been no such thing as an Emancipation Proclamation. Abraham Lincoln has been on record to state that he feels that the white folks are superior to black people. Then the same man had a program to pay $100 at that time period to ship black people back to the African continent, particularly Liberia. Of course, that program went away when he was assassinated. So Abraham Lincoln is not some big champion and hero if you start really going back into his, words and writings. Then let's look at Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan, what do we know about him? The war on drugs. What do we also know about Ronald Reagan? Using the term welfare queen, when the biggest welfare queen in America is the white woman, not the black woman. There's more white folks on welfare than there is black people. They know this. It's all in the numbers. They came out later talking about the war on drugs was basically a war on black people. And Reagan and all that was a part of it. How they also criminalized black people in during his presidency, even with crack cocaine and all of that, right? But when the folks was using the same thing that black people was using, they didn't criminalize them like they criminalize us. Then you look at Donald Trump. Now, has Donald Trump put any laws on the books that I can say, ooh, that mass incarcerated us? No, he did not. Did he say things that black people didn't like? Sure, I do agree with that. But a lot of black people, unfortunately, still have a lot of emotion tied with Donald Trump. So I don't know if I would even put his picture up there to try to recruit black people, just in the state that black people are in right now. For one, I'm just saying you just the look of this and what's going on, but we'll continue.
And serves as a stop for GOP candidates.
We are going to be on the near north side of Milwaukee. I care about everybody in the state of Wisconsin.
All right, so let me back up right there. Let's look at that picture. All of us are better than one of us. And if you look at some of those people, I see Burgess Owens. He's not a person in the black community that a lot of black people rock with. I see Kimberly Klasick on there. You know who she is. No, a lot of black people don't rock with her. All these different people that you have on here, of course, we see Tim Scott, just many others that's on here. Black people don't rock with these people. How are you going to convince black people to be in the Republican Party? And these are the people you putting up. Let's see Byron Daniels and all that other stuff. Byron Donalds, representative. How are you going to convince the community when these are the people and they have made a lot of problematic statements against their own community? How are you going to do that? See, this is how you're shooting yourself in the foot. But let's continue.
North side of Milwaukee. I care about everybody in the state of Wisconsin.
The concept expanding in 2021 when the national chairwoman opened a second chapter in a separate, largely Hispanic neighborhood.
As a party, we have to show up in communities that have been habitually Democrat.
While that space is currently closed, this one remains active, though its influence unclear.
Last November, top Republicans earned just about 18 of more than 370 votes cast in this ward. The same one.
Wait a minute. Only 370 votes was cast in that ward? But according to what I looked at with Milwaukee, 38% of the population is black and 33% is white. And out of all those black people, wow, that's interesting.
That houses this Republican office.
It's a battle for every vote in every neighborhood.
How do you make that sell when in this ward you have less than 5% in the most recent election voting for Republican?
Well, you just keep plugging away. You don't get discouraged by the fact that, it's 5% today. It might be 10% in the next election.
2020 exit polls showed just 8% of Wisconsin's black voters backed Donald Trump. Randall says the target for state Republicans has been 30%.
I get on the bus right here every day, so I don't really see nobody come in or out of it.
That lets you know a lot right there. They're not being serious because they don't. The people don't see you out there trying to holler at them. Then what?
Democrats say they welcome the challenge.
You can put as many offices as you like here, but our voters, our residents understand who has their back and who continues to deliver.
As Republicans here in
Lord Jesus, having our back, and we don't get nothing. Oh man, let me let this finish so I can finish this podcast.
This is a long-term strategy.
We can't extend the reach of the party unless we make a case to those voters that we'll need now and in the future.
Is the Republican Party will need black voters?
We always have.
Even though a lot of black Americans are very, very disgruntled with the Democrat Party, the Republican Party, you're going to try to put an office in Milwaukee, and that's fine. But when you have candidates like Vivek Ramaswamy up here attacking Juneteenth and just attacking black people, and you as a national party don't speak up against that, you don't reprimand him and say, hey, you can't be attacking black people because these are people we want us to vote for this party. What are you doing? Right? Stop it. Or you can't run as a Republican. See, you can't get the black vote that way. When you have figures like Ron DeSantis out there who's attacking American history and trying to remove black people from history, try to give a alternate whitewash history that makes them feel good about themselves. And they say the reasoning why they're doing it is based off of white supremacy, because they say that, well, you're making white children feel bad and make them feel like they're oppressors and they're enslavers and all of that. So you only care about the feelings of one group of children, but not the feelings of the other group of children or other groups of children, because those other groups of children had to learn about you enslaving and colonizing and pillaging and violating and stealing and looting and doing all these things you have done to all these non-white people. See, those non-white children has to learn about all of that while you sit up here and say, yes, I've conquered, I've did this, I did that, but you didn't care about the feelings of those children, but only when what you have done in American history. This is the thing. They have never said people lied on them in history. They never said that. They just don't want no one to know their history. Listen, your history is so bad that you don't want it being taught. You want to make it illegal to teach your history. That says a lot about you, that you are so embarrassed of your lineage that you don't want children of other generations to find out what you have really done and who you really are. Because the people that was existing 500 years ago, their same spirit is in them today. This is why they always continue this anti-black racism. Now, even black Republicans have spoken up against what DeSantis is doing in Florida. And they are slapping them and attacking them too for opening their mouth to speak up, because really, how you going to be in a party but you got to be a bootlick? Now, I will say this, because I have to be honest. The Democrat Party, you can speak up and speak out, and the Democrat Party, for the most part, is not going to attack you. Only when they'll attack you, there's a limit to it. Like, they cool with you calling out racism, they cool with you calling out white supremacy, they even agree with you. But when you start saying, well, what are you going to do about fixing it? What policies you going to put about fixing it? That's when the Democrats start having a problem with you. They're cool with rhetoric, but they're not cool with action. Because I told you before, the Democrat Party and the Republican Party both want to maintain white supremacy. Now one of them wants to destroy it and tear it down and start over with a new system that's equal to everybody. No party wants that. So no party is better than the other. I always would say that. Some parties are better than the others on certain ideals. I've said this before. I can definitely agree with the Republican Party about the traditional family and, all this situation with trying to sexualize children and letting children make life-altering decisions about their genitals and all that sort of thing. I can agree with the Republican Party about the illegal immigration. I can agree with them about lowering taxes, giving businesses the breaks that businesses should be able to get, especially you hiring people in your local community. I do agree with that, because the more money we save on taxes in business, the more we can turn around and give raises and even bring more people in to our local businesses. I'm not speaking for the Walmarts of the world or the Targets. I'm talking about the small business owner in our community. I'm talking about that brother or sister that owns a food truck and want to expand that food truck to an actual restaurant. I'm talking about that sister that's a hairstylist, that brother that's a barber, a brother or sister who actually owns a grocery store. I'm talking about all kind of people in our community that runs businesses. Because what we have allowed in this business conversation as black people is that we're thinking, oh, business corporations, and you think the folks. So you're against anything for the most part that's giving breaks to businesses. But we are in business too. You talk about black economic empowerment. You would never have black economic empowerment filling out an application working for the folks. Never. Only thing you have is a glass ceiling. You will work for these people, never get what you're worth, and you'll work until you're dead for those people. At least if you have black-owned businesses, it's been proven that more black-owned businesses will hire brothers and sisters that come out of prison, which is good, because we want our brothers and sisters to come out of prison to be able to start their life over. We don't want them to feel like they got to go back to crime so they can eat. You know what I'm saying? So we need more and more brothers and sisters to have businesses, right? So we should be involved in that business conversation. We should be definitely wanting, people to have their freedom of speech and all of that. Well, of course, within limits, of course. We're not saying threatening people and doing things to people, but we shouldn't be supporting censorship of anybody, even ideas that you don't like, because what happens is somebody will come back around and censor your ideas because they don't like yours. So you never want to jump on that bandwagon either. Any kind of debanking, deplatforming, anything like that, we shouldn't support anything like that if we so-called believe in America, right? So black people have been the most patriotic group of people in this country. We have been in this country from the inception. We helped free the Americans from the British. It was us. We built this country, of course, under duress, but we built this country. We fought in every war, from the Civil War all the way up to every conflict. Black Americans have spilled their blood in this country. Even though this country has treated us horribly, a lot of us are still patriotic. Look at Sha'Carri Richardson. When she ran that 100, she didn't talk down on America. She grabbed the American flag and was carrying and draping herself in the American flag. Even though Sha'Carri Richardson has been treated horribly in this particular country. Nobody has been more patriotic than black Americans, period. So when you in the Republican Party having these figures trying to talk down on Juneteenth, or saying it should be removed, or trying to erase us out of history and whitewash it so you can feel better about yourself, about acts that was done, this way you're going to have a hard time trying to recruit black people. And then the kind of black person you want is a sellout. And a lot of black people don't want to sell out like that. That's the issue you're going to have. You have to have a fundamental change in the Republican Party for black people to say, yeah, I'll go over there and be a Republican. I mean, for the most part, this is why you have more black people saying, I'd rather be independent, which I believe independence is actually more wise. The reason why political independence is wise and why we should be pushing black people to go become independent is because no one can case where you're going politically. See, if the Democrats got you in back pocket, they treat you any kind of way. You kind of starting to get the Democrats to wake up a little bit because you're not showing up for elections. And that's good. You're not showing up because if you're not giving black folk nothing and all this, well, at least I'm not them, that's not going to cut it. Because you have to understand, this is what you tell them. You're right. You may not be like them, and they didn't get my vote either. So stop bringing them up. What are you going to do for my community? We are in a dire situation. And Milwaukee actually has one of the lowest homeless population. actually. According to 2022, they had like 864 people. Actually, that's definitely low. But out of all of those, 64% of the homeless population in Milwaukee is Black American. But if you do the research about homelessness in this country, Black Americans lead in homelessness, and that's also done by design. We do not thrive in America in these Democrat cities. If that was the case, all of us would be flocking to them. Because think about it. If the Democrats really took care of us like they claim they do, like you remember the woman said, well, they know who got their back. Why we still deal with police brutality in Democrat cities? Why we still dealing with racism? Why we still dealing with all the homelessness? Why we still dealing with discrimination? Then if we do get Black politicians in the Democrat Party, you make sure they don't do nothing for Black people. That's the rule. Don't do nothing for Black people, and you definitely can't punish white folk. Then the same Black politicians will vote for people to come gentrify other Black people out of their area, but they never vote for white folks to be gentrified out of their area. Look in Atlanta. Black folks on city council voted for Cop City. The current mayor that's in Atlanta, he was supporting Cop City. So you want Cop City to come in and be militarized against who? Black people. Because they're sure not militarized against white folk. Look at January the 6th, when they had every right to pull out their weapons and unload. Black folk barely twitch, and they get shot 17 times. These people stormed the U.S. Capitol. They had every right to use deadly force, and they did not. If nobody knows about privilege and how these people can literally do whatever they want, that January the 6th showed it and showed the whole world, because we all talked about it. If there were Black folks, it'd have been a mass grave of them, because they would have mowed them all down quickly. It wouldn't have took that long. They'd have been pulling out new weapons they've been working on to try on Black people that day. So Black people got to be independent. No political party, no matter what it is, even though I can agree with some ideals on the right, we need to be independent. We cannot be beholden to that Democrat Party, because the Democrat Party at this point don't want us like that. Listen, the only thing they want is our vote. Look, you show up to vote for me. After that, okay, go on. We'll see you in another 2 years for midterms. That's it. I keep saying they need to go ask these other groups who they fight for a vote. But no, Republicans, you're not going to get the Black vote like that. Now, yes, more Black men are starting to vote Republican. And I'm not saying all those men are shucking and jiving, but I know what kind of Black men, for the most part, is voting for them. It is your Black men who are doing a lot better economically, a lot of Black business owners, because they need those tax breaks, and a lot of the ideals Republicans push are better for those particular men. But I tell men who's not making certain amounts of money, you still want those ideals on the books, or those laws on the books where you get low tax, etc. Because it could be you, brother or sister, next year who move up into that tax bracket, and now you need all these breaks. You need them because so you want, because people know when you make more money with taxes, they actually penalize you in this country for making more money. If you don't know the laws, you don't have the right people around you where you could benefit in certain ways, but if you just take it at face value, you will be penalized big time. How many of you have worked on your job? Let's say you put in 70 hours and you were penalized by taxes. You're like, man, it's only better to work 50 hours. I got more money on my check and I work 50 hours and work 70. That's how it is in business. The more money you make, the more they penalize you. Now, when the Democrats come in office, they believe in heavily taxing you. When you hear Biden saying, oh, well, nobody making more than $400,000 will get more tax, man. $400,000 is barely scratching the surface for a small business owner. So that means he wants to penalize small business. And how are we going to get economically empowered if we don't have business? So when it comes to politics, I say this: go with the side that benefits what we need in the community. Reparations, of course, both sides don't agree with reparations. Even the Democrats don't fully agree with it, only at the rate of 49%. The other rest do not agree with reparations. So how you can have our back, ma'am, in Milwaukee, and you guys as a national party don't agree with reparations because you fear losing your white vote if you say you support reparations. Well, if you look at white people's voting, they're not supporting you like that. They support more the conservatives. So Joe Biden, he spends his money to get you. Man, $25 million. If I took $25 million, I could do a whole lot more things with $25 million. That's a waste of money. You do not have to spend that much money to outreach to people. I can do a nationwide campaign to reach. If I was going to go talk to black people, I could do a nationwide campaign. Don't even spend not even $1 million. You know what I'm saying? And reach the people. But that's that old school way. I think that's stupid. But y'all let me know what y'all think about Joe Biden. He's spending all this money to try to get your vote because he said he want you to go in and let him finish the job. And, the Republicans, like I said, you're not getting the black vote in mass until you're willing to have fundamentally change your party. And as long as you're allowing that wing of white supremacists in your party, it's just not going to happen. Like I said, even though I agree with some of the ideals of the Republican Party, I just know that the majority of my people is not going to vote with you. And I know some of you be coming to this chat and saying, see, it's better go with Republicans. No, they're not going to go with Republicans because y'all have a wing of white supremacists in there and white supremacist governors in there, right, that is anti-black. And how you going to get black voters when you're anti-black?